Hi, my name is Jenny, and today I'll be showing you how to solve polynomial equations. So for our first equation, we have 10x squared minus 9 equals x to the power of 4. And so what we're going to do first is rearrange the equation to have all the terms onto one side, as I already did here. And then using the integral zero theorem that we learned in 3.6, we are going to find all the possible factors of this equation by finding all the positive and negative factors of the constant, which is 9 in this case. So what we're going to do is we're going to sub in these numbers for x in the equation to see which numbers make this equation equal to 0. If I sub in 1 into the equation, we can then see that the equation equals to 0, and so therefore x minus 1 is a factor. We're now going to do synthetic division and set up our chart. So then we write down all the coefficients of the terms in the equation and proceed to do synthetic division. So we bring down the 1 times 1 is 1, 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 times 1 is 1, negative 10 plus 1 is negative 9, and keep going, and in the end you will get 0. And so now you have x minus 1 times x cubed plus x squared minus 9x minus 9. So now we sub in one of these numbers into this equation to see what numbers can make this equation equal to 0. If you plug in 3, you can see that it equals to 0. We're going to do synthetic division again and continue our chart. So bring down the 1 times 3 is 3, 1 plus 3 is 4, 4 times 3 is 12, and so on. So now what we have is x minus 1 times x minus 3 times x squared plus 4x plus 3. So now to simplify this equation, we find two numbers that can add to 4 and multiply to 3. These two numbers would be 3 and 1, and so our final equation would look like that. And so therefore our final solutions for x would then be negative 1, 1, negative 3, and 3. So for our second question, we have 5 minus 6x squared equals negative x to the power of 4. So again, rearranging that equation to bring all the terms into one side. Again, using the integral zero theorem, we find all the possible factors, which are all the positive and negative factors of 5, which is our constant. And so the factors would be plus minus 1 and plus minus 5. So if you sub in 1 into the equation, we can see that p of 1 does equal to 0. So again, we'll proceed to make our synthetic division chart, writing down all the coefficients of the terms in the equation. So now you have x minus 1 times x cubed plus x squared minus 5x minus 5. And so again, using the factors found before, subbing it in into this equation and seeing what numbers make that equation equal to 0. And so if you sub in negative 1, you can see that it does equal to 0, making it a factor. We're going to continue the synthetic division chart with negative 1. So now our equation is x minus 1 times x plus 1 times x squared minus 5. And so you can see that x squared minus 5 is a difference of squares. And so knowing that, we are going to factor that into x minus root 5, x plus root 5. Our solutions for x then equal to 1, negative 1, root 5, and negative root 5. And those are our final answers for this question. So for our third question, we have 18 minus 9x squared equals negative x to the power of 4. So again, rearranging the terms to bring them all into one side. Using the integral zero theorem, we are going to find all the factors of 18 to find the possible factors of the equation. So for this question, if you plug all of these factors into the equation, you will find that none of these numbers work. And so we are going to go deeper into the factors of 18 and look at square root factors. And so we're going to try and plug in root 3 into the equation. And if you do that, you will see that root 3 does in fact equal to 0. So now we're going to set up our synthetic division chart. So now what we have is, so now we're going to see what factors we can sub into this equation to make it equate to 0. So if you sub in negative root 3 into this equation, you can see that it equates to 0. So now we're going to continue this synthetic division chart with negative root 3. And so now you can see what we're left with is
x minus root 3 times x plus root 3 times x squared minus 6.
This equation is a difference of squares. And so to factor this even further, we will have x minus root 6, x plus root 6. We can then say that our solutions for x are root 3, negative root 3, root 6, and negative root 6. And that's our final answer. Peace.